So today we're going to be talking about videography and a few things that I wish I would have known back when I first started shooting video that would have saved me a ton of time, frustration, and money that was spent on a bunch of gear that I didn't necessarily need at that time. So I come from photography, street photography, where I mainly use my camera for stills. And I figured I know ISOs and frame rates and shutter speeds shouldn't be that hard to transition into video, but I learned the hard way. So figured I'd make a quick little video going over a few of these things that definitely would have helped me back then and hopefully help you now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the first little tip, trick, kind of piece of advice. Let's go. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is gear. Now, I'm not one of those guys that says gear doesn't matter, because it absolutely does, but I believe it's all about the right gear. So, for instance, don't spend all your money on a camera that shoots 6K, 8K, 4K, 120, because social media only allows you to upload in standard HD. And as far as YouTube goes, yeah, you can upload in 4K, but the majority of people watching YouTube are not watching it in 4K, and they're really not even watching it on a 4K compatible device. So don't go worrying about spending tons of thousands of dollars on a camera. Get you a decent budget camera, a used camera that shoots decent video, and nobody will know the wiser. Once you get better, progress, get them reps in, then maybe upgrade your camera. But for now, focus on some equipment that's gonna really enhance the viewing experience, such as a microphone. First on the list, get you some good audio. You ever click on a YouTube video, the quality of the actual video itself is amazing, but the audio is just chalked? Next. I can't do it. I don't care how, what K the video was shot in. I cannot stand chalked audio, and I'm sure you guys have witnessed that same exact scenario. So upgrade the microphone. This was actually the first mic that I ever bought. It's the Deity D3 Pro shotgun mic. Great mic, captures crystal clear audio, and I use this for quite a while. So highly recommend this guy. I'm gonna leave links to all the equipment we talk about in this video down in the description below, just in case you guys wanna pick something up. So I did end up upgrading to the DJI wireless mic, just so I wouldn't have to be right up on my camera when I wanted my voice to be clear. With this thing, it allows me to, walk 50 feet away from the camera and still talk, and you could still hear me crystal clear. So definitely love this thing. I take it everywhere with me. It's one of my favorite mics I've ever used. So upgrade your audio quality. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. You will not be disappointed, and your videos will just skyrocket from there. So with that being said, let's move on to the next piece of gear. Next piece of equipment that is absolutely crucial to shooting video, especially talking head videos like this, is lighting. So you can see for yourself, here's a quick short that I made the other day showing you the difference between a pro camera in bad lighting and an iPhone in good lighting. This was shot on a $4,000 Sony a7R5 in bad lighting conditions and terrible audio. This was shot on the iPhone 15 Pro with good lighting conditions and good audio. So yes, while gear does matter, it's all about what gear. So yeah, I think that's really all I gotta say about lighting. All the lights I use, I will link in the description below. I'll also throw in some budget options in case you're just starting to dabble into the light scene and want to see what it's all about. So with that being said, let's move on to the next piece of equipment. Now for the last piece of gear we're gonna talk about is lenses. So when I first started, I thought I needed the best lens with the lowest f-stop and world-class autofocus, when in reality, the majority of the video I shoot is in manual focus and anywhere from f2.8 to f4, f5, just depending on the scene that I'm trying to capture. I mean, in fact, the lens that stays on my FX3 is the Sony PZ16-35G, and it's only f4. So just goes to show you don't need the best G Master quality lens to get good quality video. Get you a nice budget friendly lens and nobody will be the wiser. So now that we got gear out of the way, let's go ahead and segue into why shooting in manual focus is better than shooting in autofocus for a good bit of the time. Let's talk about it. So shooting in manual could be a little intimidating or uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, once you do it a few times, get a few repetitions under your belt, it's gonna really start to feel like home, and you'll probably start shooting in manual focus the majority of the time. So the problem that I've found with shooting in autofocus is that the camera is constantly looking for the best focus point throughout the shot that it thinks it needs, when in reality, you might want to maintain a certain focus point throughout the whole duration of the video. So I'm going to throw a quick little video up of a shot I did in my car the other day, just to give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So you see how midway through the shot, the camera automatically just starts to pull focus on another part of the vehicle, when in reality, I wanted it to maintain that same focus point throughout. It basically ruined the shot, trashed it, throw away. It's basically unusable now. So if I would have had it in manual focus, it wouldn't have done that, would have just maintained that nice focus point throughout the duration. So if you've never shot in manual, quick little tip I can give you is to get everything set up, get your subject, your camera, everything just how you want it, have your camera in autofocus, and then once it's focused in, click it over to manual. Now it's gonna stay within that focus range until you either change depth or dial in that focus ring to change your focus. So I would recommend taking your camera settings and putting focus peaking on, and that way you could see a clear visual representation of what's in focus and what's not in focus. So there you go, shoot in manual. I promise you, you'll only get better and your skills will improve as a videographer, and your shots will start getting better. You'll start learning that focus range and how to focus and when to change focus all on your own. Shoot in manual. Let's move on to the next topic. So now that we're in a world full of vertical video and vertical content with shorts and reels and TikToks, you're gonna be tempted to wanna shoot your video vertically. Well, I'm here to tell you, just don't. Don't do it. Don't make the mistakes that I've made. So when I first got into video, I was mainly purposing all my content for Instagram and TikTok and wasn't thinking about long form content. But when I started to dabble into YouTube, I tried to go back and use some of that footage, some of that B-roll, and I couldn't repurpose it because it was shot vertically. So it was basically all trash unless I wanted to make vertical content. So what you do is, the pro tip, black belt tip of the day, is to shoot everything in landscape but compose for portrait, compose for vertical video. And that way you'll have your vertical shot, you'll have your long form shot, your footage will be compatible with any type of video you plan on making. So learn from my mistakes and shoot horizontal. Pro tip. Let's move on to the next one. So for the last topic of this video, we're gonna be talking about stabilization and how unstable these damn camera sensors are. So if you're used to shooting on a GoPro or an Osmos Pocket or the new iPhone with the stabilization turned on, and you move over to a real camera, you're gonna be in for quite a treat. So there are ways to get nice buttery smooth footage, one of them being a gimbal. But they're big, they're bulky, they're very expensive. You got to carry it around in your backpack, and then you're out there with this giant rig when you just might be trying to get some low-key inconspicuous B-roll. right? So a few ways that I've learned throughout my time to get smoother handheld footage is, one, get a neck strap. It's cheap. You basically throw it on your neck, cause a little tension with you and the camera, and it kind of smoothens out the handshakes. You tuck your arms, do a little turtle walk, and you got some smooth footage. Another way is to basically weigh your camera down, add some things to your camera, a cage, a microphone, a gorilla pod, just something that adds a little bit of weight that's going to eliminate those hand jitters. So one thing I like to do is throw the gorilla pod on, put it up against my chest. I'll have the neck strap on. Now I have 4 points of contact on the camera, do a little turtle walk, and you're getting some buttery smooth footage. Might still have to throw warp stabilizer on it, but at the end of the day, it'll be 10 times better than the footage you would have got just shooting regular handheld. So just a couple things I wanted to point out. That was a shocker to me when I first started shooting video. And I promise you, once you start shooting video, or if you already are shooting video, you know the problems that come with stabilization and shooting handheld. So that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. If you got any questions, thoughts, queries, concerns, drop them below. I'll make sure to get back to you. And if you have any other tips and tricks to get smoother footage handheld, definitely leave those. I'm always trying to step up my game and learn some new tips and tricks for smoother footage. So that being said, see you guys on the next one. Later.